I'd like to give some appreciation to ZZZ for the simple fact that it's kind of the only game under which, at least compared to the miHoYo roster and Weathering Waves, I've simped for characters with larger boobs. Now don't get me wrong, this does not mean my tastes are changing. I still like Fufu, I still like Qingyi, Lucy, and I'm gonna be honest here, this is strictly because ZZZ has like 2 body types instead of Weathering Waves is 3. You really only have 3 really distinct female bodies. Now don't get me wrong, the guys have characters like Lycan and you have Ben Bigger, but they haven't made a female like that. And speaking bluntly here, Pulchra just looks like if you had mildly changed the appearance of somebody like Yanagi, like same boob size, everything. So I'm not counting her as a different body type. It's just you threw some fur aesthetics onto her. So with that being said, you know, I approve. I still like Fufu. She still has one of my favorite designs. I still like Qingyi. I am still never going to forgive them for the fact that Fufu has, in my opinion, one of the worst cinema arts strictly because what is the fan service? What happened here? Also, in that exact same vein, Alice came out later, like a patch later, and cleared that in the fan service department. In that same vein, Alice, Yixuan, and Yuzuha all got skins, with Yixuan getting a dress and Yuzuha and Alice getting a swimsuit. And the character who was in the other half of the Season 2 launch got nothing. Look, all I'm saying is we've been shafted. In terms of people who got outfits, Ellen got an outfit, Alice got an outfit, Yish got an outfit, Astriao got an outfit, Yuzuha got an outfit, but you know what, who hasn't? Any of the flatter characters. And yes, even though Yuzuha does look relatively speaking flat here, you know, the boobs are kind of out. Now don't get me wrong, Lucia I like, however, Miyabi, I know she's not necessarily flat or anything like that, but Miyabi, don't question why she's level 50. Look, okay, for the reference here, any character who I dislike is stuck at level 50, like C. These characters are not, look at these are not, like, I did not care, okay? I did not, okay, I haven't looked at these in a while. Okay, we don't talk about that. Look, whatever. Instead, I want to focus on, I feel like we deserve some additional skins here for some of these other characters, like the Soukaku. And you know what, can we talk about Bellabog Industries? I really feel like we could have had a swimsuit arc for Bellabog, strictly because I need to figure out what is the curvature like down here under this fit. In that same vein, I'm not gonna lie, I look, Yixuan to me looks a little bit too similar to Anby, but that aside, I like their designs. However, I don't like the fact that Yirahara and Lucia are basically all using the exact same fit. I complained about the fact that after a character like Zhuyan's release, everybody started using the same leather pants style, or the same leather style. And, you know, that still remains true to this day, in my opinion. But I really don't like how once they make like one character, they seemingly say, hey, what if we copy pasted this outfit with minor changes for at least 3 more times? Because in 1.0, at least with the game's launch, you had Neko, you had Koleda, you had Ellen, who had a unique design. And even our first Soukaku character, even though yes, these two look very similar, had a different style. And it just went downhill from there. I'm not counting the male characters because, let's be honest, they don't really make them enough for me to say, oh my god, they look so similar. No, you get like one every 6 months. Calm down. And we haven't seen any of the more unique ones. We haven't seen any more androids like Billy. When we did get an android that was female, it was legitimately just, hey, Qingyi, she looks human. Here's a couple of lines that vaguely make her look robotic, but not really. In terms of the changes to Pulchra, she wasn't, you know, as furry based or anthropomorphic as Ben Bigger or as Wu. She was just human who had some light fur colorings. That's it. I'm not complaining. Don't be wrong, she's fine. But the designs here are less varied. I also have a side note where I feel like if a character's story is extremely relevant to the plot upcoming, just make it into a main story quest, please. Like, okay, look, this is my excuse for not doing a zombie story right now. I'm gonna do it, I promise you. I don't know when, but like I'll not like half an hour to go through. But like we're not talking about that right now. Look, this started out as an appreciation for Alice and went into a long-winded rant about Fufu. I'm not forgiving them, okay? How do you go from like, oh, Alice, all the boob is like fully out in C6, and this, and you know, you got armpit with Qingyi here, and then you get nothing. Like, don't get me wrong, when you see this at C0, it's like, oh my god, you know, compared to everybody else, something must be removed, right? You know, maybe you're getting a loose situation where she loses half her clothing, cool, or something like that. No, instead the jacket comes off, she still has the shirt, she has the pants, the shorts here, and the tail is blocking the ass. So like, what's the point? I get more ass, more fan service from Fufu with the splash out wipeout screens than I do with actually using and getting dupes of this character. It sucks. I feel like we should have something equalized here. Now, I will be pulling for her, you know, dupes of her anyway, because she has been very good. But like, you know, I'm intrigued. Also, where are Shinatsu leaks? Like, look, I like Azami, sure, but like I don't care about Orphe and Seed and 90% of the rest of the cast coming up, so I'll be skipping all of them. And I understand we're going to be entering into a sheer force meta, so I pray that if Chinatsu is a supportive character, we have Astra, generalist attacker support. We have Yuza, generalist anomaly support. We will have Lucia, generalist sheer damage support. There aren't much left. If Chinatsu is support for Aftershock, I'm gonna cry. I mean, I'll benefit, but I'm gonna cry still. I don't really understand what archetype she would be a supporter for if she is a supporter. And if she's a stunner, well, look, we have enough stunners, please. If she's anomaly, look, Anomaly's very stacked right now. And if she's sheer force, I actually don't know. What do you hope she is? If you're pulling, well, let's be honest with you, follow this channel if you're a subscriber, you're gonna pull. But I hope we get more unique Tyrants. I'm not gonna lie, I like the squid. I like the shark because these aren't typical. Even bunny characters are relatively rare. So I hope we get more. There are so many different animal types that they could do. And whilst I do like foxes, I want one with an actual tail and not whatever this is. Also, if you're gonna give me like a dog boy, you know, make him cute. We have one, I know I need like, look, I see Seth, I see Harmon, the same body type. Give me Lucy, but a guy. Give me a backstory. Lucy finds out she has a twin brother. I'll accept that. Anyway, subscribe. I'll see you next time. I forgot what this video was about.